Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. I don't really expect anyone to be on right now because it is 10 to 8 in the morning. But I didn't know what my day was going to be like, so I figured that now was a good time to do this. And then people could watch at their leisure when they are having a leisurely cup of coffee or something to that effect. So I had this card on my social media yesterday. I had it both on my Instagram and my Facebook. And I just wanted to show you guys how to do this really quick watercolor type technique. It's super easy. And I just was introduced to it last weekend. And yeah, I just wanted to share it. It's really cool and it doesn't take much effort at all. It takes a couple of supplies, but nothing too crazy. Oh, I do have a couple morning people. Hello. So you do need markers. So you need the Stampin Write water, like not the alcohol based. I think these are the water based, right? Stampin Write markers. You can't use the blends because apparently they don't come off the block. You need this little spritzer that's filled with water or some other way of just getting some water onto your block. So you could use another type of water bottle that you use for spritzing plants or whatever. Just this gives a nice sort of controlled amount of water, nothing too much. You need a block, so it doesn't matter what size. And then ideally you want to use either watercolor paper or the shimmery white. So both, obviously watercolor paper is meant to hold water, but the shimmery white also is very good if you don't have the watercolor. And then of course you also get that sort of shimmery background. I'll show you. I did do it on normal white cardstock because I was playing around with another one. So here's another background that I made on normal white cardstock, Whisper white cardstock. So it's not that it doesn't work. You would just have to be careful how wet you got your block. I think that would make the difference because this paper can kind of only hold so much water before it would start to get that sort of, you know, my paper got wet look. And you can see this one is curling a little. Obviously, once you put that on your card front, it would be okay. But that's just my thoughts. You could definitely try it on here. But I'm going to show you what we're going to do. And we'll do it on both watercolor and shimmery white. So you can see on this one, I used this block with it, which is the H. And it perfectly sort of fits across your piece of paper. Hey, Teddy. That is your 4 by 5 and a quarter. When I did this one, I used this block that I have, so not a Stampin' Up! Block, because I wanted it to be a bit bigger. If you use, this is our E block, will fill up almost your entire card front. So that's a good one when you want to sort of create your entire background. And then this would be our standard D block. So this would be another one you could use if you just wanted to do like sort of a focal point. Let's say we've got some of these trees, you know, you wanted to do a focal point and that's maybe where your greeting was going to be stamped. Or the other thing you could do with this is kind of do a couple of these maybe and make a bit of a pattern. So we're going to play around with a couple of those. I have these trees, which I'm going to bring out. So I was going to make a background that I could use these trees on. So these trees are from the In the Pines bundle. And what I did to get these trees is you can see they have some texture. Maybe you can't. But I actually had... There's an embossing folder, the pine embossing folder, and I had done the embossing folder on spruce, and I had put some Whisper White ink inside my embossing folder, and then I got this sort of like snowy tree, and then I didn't really like, oh, then I cut it out, because I thought maybe I could play around with it. Anyway, it didn't work like I thought I would, but I didn't want it to go to waste, so then I took my tree die cuts and cut them out, so then it looks to me really cool, because now these trees have texture. And even that side looks really cool. And they also look like they're kind of snowy. So just a side tangent there, but I want to try to use those. Okay, so first I'm going to just show you the technique, and I might just show you on this other piece of Whisper White that we don't really care about and go from there. And I'll show you with a smaller block. So I'll show you with that D block, and then we'll go from there. Your surface might get a little bit wet, so you might want to have something down just so whatever you're working on doesn't get wet below it. So this is the bubble wrap that comes in your Stampin' Up! Orders, and all I've done is popped out all the bubbles, or I should say my son did that. He jumped all over them. Okay, so when I did this one, I used Terracotta Tile, I used Bumblebee, and I used Just Jade. So all in color markers. When I used this one, I think I did Pretty Peacock, and then I did Pool Party? No, I did Seaside Spray and Navy maybe, or Misty Moonlight. That's what these ones were. I found using a really light marker, you can't see it very well on the block. So it was kind of hard to tell where you had colored with it. So I didn't really love that, but the key will be that you use the lightest color first and work your way up, and then you're gonna see how we're gonna do that. So because we're doing this one, let's play around with, what can we do that's something fun here? Let's do purple. Oh, purple posy's pretty light. I was just trying to think, because I want you to see the color on the block so that you can see what I'm doing. Can you see that one? No, so you can barely see that. So we're gonna go with something just a little bit darker so you guys can see what I've got going on here. So let's do like Mango, Flirty Flamingo, and I'm thinking Calypso Coral, but maybe I don't have that as a marker, or it's in the wrong spot. Oh, that's Flamingo. Oh, that's why that's Coral. Okay, so let's do those colors. I think those will be pretty. And we'll show you what you do. So we're gonna start, I don't even actually know which one the lightest color might be, this one. So you're gonna wanna use the I don't know what they call this, the thick end. More like a brush, the brush end versus the tip. There we go. Okay. And you're just gonna color all over your block. So you're just gonna kind of go in different spots with this marker, however you like. You can always add more after. Then you're gonna take a second color, or maybe you're only gonna use 2 colors, and you're gonna color in where there isn't marker already. And just kind of space it out like that. And then you're gonna take your third color. And again, you could do this with, so I'm just going now everywhere there isn't already marker. You wanna try not to have any unmarkered spots. Okay, so there's our marker completely covered. And then we're going to spritz it with the water. Maybe move your paper out of the way while you're doing that. So depending on how much water you add to this is going to sort of indicate what your effect is going to be. So the more water you add, the more sort of muted it will be, and less water will give you more of that bright color. So maybe what we'll do here, just for demonstration's sake, so I'm going to put quite a bit of water on the bottom, and then just like 1 across the top. So you can see it dripping off. That's why you kind of have to have a surface that's not going to be bothered by that. And then you're just going to take it and you're going to put it on your paper. So I think in this case, we have way too much water, but you can kind of see what happens. So then you get this neat kind of watercolor background. And so this, what's happened here is either there was no marker there, and so there's no pigment, and because of the way the markers ran, none of them ran into that corner, so you can see. And so depending how long you hold your block there is going to dictate how crisp your edge is. So you have to understand that if you're really picky about that, and then you're going to be bummed out that you don't have a super clean edge. So you can see on the one that I had done previously, I have quite a clean edge on the bottom and a little bit less of a clean edge up top. And then in this one, I then stamped right into it so that I was using those colors as the coloring to my image. And then I went in and colored a bit with my blends in the other spots that either I wanted to accentuate or that had no color at all. And then just a simple greeting. And then I colored my pearls with my Just Jade blends so that I had jade pearls. So that's how I did that one. So there you can see the effect. Okay, so let's do another one actually on, that's just to give you the idea. So super simple, right? And you can kind of play around with that and make it as bright or as bold or as muted as you want. So because you can see that's not the watercolor paper, right? The water goes all the way through. So now let us try. So let's try, I'm just gonna make sure this is dry. Anyway, this is a really handy thing to use though for your background so that everything doesn't get all wet. So we're gonna try it on this, and we are going to use our big block. So another demonstrator that I am friends with, Lori Wilcox, she does amazing, amazing backgrounds. And she did a really cool one for her pine trees using all shades of blue for the sky. It was gorgeous. So I might try to do something like that. So we're gonna do navy, and then I think we're gonna do misty moonlight, and then we need a bit of a lighter shade. Oh, I would do Pacific Point, but I don't have that as a marker, unfortunately. So maybe some balmy blue. Let's try that. So you can see this block is way bigger. And then depending how you do this, you know, you could do big sweeping like that. I suppose you could throw in some different directions as well. Honestly, I don't really know. That was the first time I'd ever tried it. The one that I showed you. And that was when Lori was demonstrating it, and I thought it was super cool. And I just did it right along with her, so I knew then that it was pretty easy, and then I wanted to show you guys how to do it as well. So I just already didn't follow my advice, which was to do the lightest color first. And the reason you want to do the lightest color first is that way you're not coloring into your darker marker with your lighter one and sort of contaminating it. But if you color over light with dark, then that's not going to be a problem, right? Because that color is darker. But I think we're going to be okay here. I might actually add in, no, I think that's okay. Okay, so we're going to give this a try. We're going to add a bit of water. I'm not going to do so much water this time. And I'm going to spray it from a little, I think that was the other problem. I was a little bit too close. So you want it to look a bit more like this versus what I had going on before. Okay, and then that's a bit wet, so I'm going to just fold this over. And now I'm going to put my piece of paper on there. I want to try to center this, so I have to be careful about this because once I turn it over, it's going to start dripping. And I'm going to put it down. I'm going to hold it there for a second. And then I'm going to pull it off. So you can see a much nicer effect on the watercolor. So that is really pretty. And then you're just going to take a paper towel and you're just going to sort of dab where there's extra water, being careful if you wanted that crisp line not to dab out into the white too much. You could also use your heat tool. There we go. Oh, so pretty. Okay, and then you're gonna clean your block off. And the beauty is, you know, this comes off your block like nobody's business. But Lori did say the blends did not. It took her quite a long time. Okay, so there you can see now. So pretty and really super simple. So the key, if anyone's watching this back, if you watched just the beginning and then you sort of tuned off, is to make sure you're holding your spritzer reasonably, like, you know, yay, 6 inches from your block. And so you can see now, I'll be able to throw some trees on there and put this on a piece of paper and then just put a nice greeting there. Maybe add a bit of ribbon or some embellishments or something. And all of a sudden, you've got a really pretty card. that didn't take too much at all. And so as long as you have a few markers and some means of water and a block, you're set. So that is on the shimmery white again. Oh, I thought I had picked up the watercolor, but you can see the shimmer. But you would get the same effect on the watercolor, just it wouldn't be shimmery. All right, so I'm not going to turn this into a full card right now. I just wanted to really showcase this technique. But you can see then how easy this would be to add either some stamping on top of it or some die cuts. And voila, a super pretty card. So ladies, thank you, or gents, I'm not too sure. It is now 8:05, so I want you to have a super fabulous Saturday. I don't know about where you are here today. It's a little bit more overcast than it was yesterday. But you know what? We're still trying to live out the last of our summer days. So hopefully everybody has a great day, and I will be sure to post what the finished effect of this card ends up being. Hopefully you like this technique and you give it a try. If you give it a try, I'd love to see your cards, post them back on the page. Okay, have a great day.